Music lovers, audiophiles, hi-fi enthusiasts, whatever you want to call yourself, it's time for us to have a heart-to-heart talk. You see, recently I've noticed a growing trend in behaviors, not only from content creators on the YouTube platform, but from many of the people like you who enjoy participating in the comment section. And today's video is going to be about addressing those behaviors and providing you all with some perspective to keep in mind as you move on with your hi-fi journey. Now clearly this video is going to be catered towards people who are somewhat new to hi-fi, and these are going to be points that I wish somebody would have told me back when I was just getting started. Of course, I'm going to curtail it to where it's a little bit more relevant for 2020. Now before I begin, you need to know that this video is being shot a lot like my live stream in the sense that it's unscripted. Everything I say is from the hip because I haven't really put too much thought into what I'm going to say here. The only thing that I've done is I've kept a bullet point list next to me. That way I can at least remain focused and cover the topics I want to hit on. So the very first topic, the very first thing I should say that I wish somebody would have told me back when I was getting started is to be wary of false prophets and to make my own experience. This is where I'm coming from. Whenever we're new to something that we take interest in, we of course try to educate ourselves. And it's human nature to want to latch on to somebody that we see as a reliable guide, somebody that can provide us with useful information to consider and to even apply towards our own journey. There's nothing wrong with that. However, I've noticed a growing trend of people of influence who position themselves as an expert by saying, I have this amount of experience, and when I talk about these topics, because I have the experience, this is how it is. And what you need to know about audio is it's almost impossible for anybody to be absolutely correct about everything, because a lot of what we experience with sound is prone to many uncontrolled variables. Meaning that somebody who has, say, 20 years of experience in this industry may feel one way about a subject or a type of product than somebody else who has an equal amount of experience. So as you go about your journey, yes, consider what people like myself and others have to say, but there's no replacement for your own experience, especially when it comes to innocuous topics such as break-in. Does it make a difference? Is it audible? Amplifiers. Is it worth spending more money on what's supposed to be a better amplifier? The value of speakers. Is $500 really all you need to spend, or is there a benefit of spending more money? Cables. Snake oil, or something that's valid? Let me give you some examples here. So on the topic of cables, the most controversial aspect of hi-fi. Obviously, I've had numerous conversations with people and I've seen both extremes. I've seen somebody who has a very modest system try out exotic cables, only to come back to me and say, you know, I didn't think it was going to make a difference, but oh my God, it transformed the sound of my system. I love it so much now. I never thought cables could have this kind of an impact. Now, did I berate them for buying into snake oil? No. I said, great. I'm happy it worked for you, and I'm glad you're loving your system even more. And then there's people I know who've had the opposite experience. People I know who have very high resolution systems. They've tried numerous cables, different price points, different material types. They came back to me and they said, Sean, I tried, I really did, but I cannot hear a difference with any of this stuff. Did I berate them for being deaf? No. I said, great. You tried it. You know where you stand. You have your experience, and nobody can take that away from you. So as you move along in this journey, yeah, a lot of those topics are interesting to think about. But the only person who's going to come up with a real truth is going to be you. And always remember that. Consider what I have to say, but what I have to say is not the gospel. And that applies to everybody, reviewer or not. Now let's move on. So this is a big thing that I get from people who are more new to this. There's no such thing as the best hi-fi product. And don't get me wrong, I wish that wasn't true. It would be nice to have an easy button to where you say, I have a budget of $1,000 and I want to get the best speakers for my money. Hit the button, bam, the best speaker appears, you buy it, and then you go on with your life. But unfortunately, that's not how it is. So think of it like this. Take a step back and look at all of these different products that exist in the marketplace right now. The reason why there's so many different products is because all of them are flawed, no matter how inexpensive or expensive. There's things that they do well and things that they may not do so well, meaning that there is no best. Now, what you can do if you know thyself just a little bit, you can say, okay, so I have a budget of $1,000. I know I want a compact speaker. I know I want it to at least have this kind of aesthetic. If you can at least understand the kind of room that you're in, the kind of music that you listen to, and have a rough approximation as to the kind of listening experience you want, whether it's something that's laid back and you can listen to it for hours or something that's more forward and lively and sounds like a real life performance. Now you can start to narrow that criteria down to something that would actually be the best for you. But unfortunately, there is no such thing as an objective best until you just really lay down your criteria, or you just want to rely on measurements and who listens with microphones. Paralleling that, by the way, speaking of best, let's talk about YouTubers and really reviewers, period, and their use of catchy taglines. This is a giant killer. This $500 speaker is as good as $5,000 speakers. This is the best, blah, blah, blah. The bottom line is, for many YouTubers, maybe not all, but for many YouTubers, they want clicks. They want attention. And the best way to get attention is to put in a catchy title for their video because it works. Quite frankly, it just works. I mean, come on. What's more interesting to you? This is a review of the Lunch Bucket Amplifier. Or Lunch Bucket Amplifier, the best in class? Of course, you're probably going to click on the second video more frequently than you would the first because it's this innate interest of knowing whether or not something truly is really special and amazing, because all of us like the promise of paying this amount of money and getting this kind of performance. Now, what I will say is this. Some of these reviewers truly mean what they say. If they say they found a giant killer, they mean that. If they think that this product outperforms anything else for twice to 3 times the price or even more, some of them actually mean that. But going back to what I said earlier, just because it's their experience doesn't mean you're going to feel the same way. Now, subjectively speaking, in my experience, which may not match your own, I've yet to find a true giant killer. I have found that the market leverages itself very well to where I may personally prefer this product over something that costs a lot more money. But just because I prefer it doesn't mean in my mind that it's truly better. It just means I prefer it. But again, you have to be the one to make your own experiences, to make your own judgment. But whenever you approach these hyped up reviews, you don't have to approach them with pessimism. Just be cautious and be leveraged with how you interpret it. Anyways, let's move on. Okay, so this has a direct parallel here. Your truth isn't going to be somebody else's truth. And I see this all the time. So, okay, great. You get your experience. Maybe you have multiple experiences. Now you've formed an opinion based off of these experiences. That's great. That's wonderful. And again, no one can take it away from you. But don't think that your experience is now applicable to everybody. It's a huge mistake I see, and this actually isn't a reviewer thing so much as it is people who like to comment on videos. Maybe it's just somebody who really is desperate for validation, or maybe it's just a thing of hubris and ego. But no, just because you feel like this type of amplifier is better than other amps doesn't mean that is the truth. Globe over, hands down, like topic closed. Accept it as your truth and leave it at that. Now we can move on to the next, which is, okay, this one, again, more for the newbies. You can't have it all. I wish that wasn't true. I wish we could have it all. And here's what I mean. Every once in a while, I'll get an email from somebody who says, hey, look, I have a budget of about $1,000 and I'm looking for a new set of speakers. And here's what I want, Sean. I want something that sounds lively. I want it to recreate the sensation of a live event. I want it to be lively and forward and effortlessly detailed. I want to hear everything. But I listen to some pretty awful recordings, so I want it to be laid back and smooth at the same time. For the mid-range, I want it to sound natural, not too thin, but not too warm. I want it to have this big sense of scale. I want depth to the sound. I want bass that's strong. I want it to extend down to 20 hertz. I want it to be clean but visceral, punchy but not too forward. I need big imaging, something that's sensitive and easy to drive, great at low volumes, high volumes, da 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 da. To which I say, cool, so you're looking for the unicorn. You're looking for the perfect speaker. And I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but you're never going to find it. Not for $1,000, not for $100,000. Everything is compromised. And the less money you have to spend, in my experience, the more compromised things are going to be. And compromise is something that I want to focus on for a second because heaven knows I've fallen down the audiophile rabbit hole in a huge way. In fact, between 2005 and 2010, I was bitten by the bug so badly, it was just straight up a case of hi-fi neurosis. I was never satisfied because even when I would have a system that was 90% of what I wanted, there's always that one little thing, like maybe I wish the mid-range, the upper mid-range was just a little fuller. If I could just get a more warm and fuller sound right in that region, I would be completely happy. So I'd buy a different set of speakers and then a different amplifier. And I'd get that warmth that I was looking for, but now the top end lost that character trait that I love so much. And the cycle repeated itself over and over and over again. Until finally one day, I actually got burnt out, which is the worst case scenario. But really what I needed to do, and I wish somebody would have just told me back then and said, Sean, dude, you're never going to find everything. I know you want everything, but it doesn't exist. If you find a system that connects you emotionally to the music and it's 90% of what you want and it's within the realm of affordability for you, find a way to live with it and to be happy. Moving on. Make a decision. So one of the problems that a lot of you face right now who are new to this hobby is, on one hand, you're living in this great time. There's so many great components at all these different price points. They're all well reviewed because they're genuinely good. And it seems like on one hand, it's hard to make a bad choice. But the problem is you're oversaturated with decisions to make. And sometimes you just want somebody to make that choice for you. Buy this amplifier with this speaker and be happy. And unless you have that, it's easy to find yourself just chasing your tail, trying to find what's supposed to be the best match for you. And I've seen this countless times. In fact, recently, I actually had to cut a few people off because in interacting with them through email, they'd send me this email and they said, hey, I have these speakers and here's a list of 5 amplifiers I'm interested in. Which one would be best for you? So I narrowed down the criteria to the one choice I think would be best for them. And then right when I think, okay, we're on the right path, another email a few days later, another 3 to 5 amplifiers. Okay, this is probably going to be the last time I comment on it, but out of everything we've discussed, this is going to be their best choice. Here's why. This would be my vote of confidence. And they say, okay, great, I'm going to go buy it. A week later, oh, but I just read about these other products. What do you think about that? Until finally it's like, no. Make a choice. Because here's the bottom line. There are tons of different products out there for you to choose from. Every month there's going to be more released onto the market. They're going to receive great reviews. And you're going to end up like this dog chasing its tail, to where even when you do decide, there's going to be that voice in the back of your head going, what if, what if, what if? So here's what you do. You make a choice. And if you've read the reviews, you've watched videos, you'll probably make an informed decision. Make a choice. And here's the key thing. Once you get that product home, assuming there's a trial period to go with it, during that trial period, only focus on that system. Listen to it. Have fun. And while you do that, do not go to any hi-fi related media. Don't tune into YouTube and watch videos about it. Don't read any reviews in the publications. Nothing. Spend time only with your system. Well, the free time you have. And ask yourself a question when you listen to it. Does it connect me emotionally to the music? Am I having fun? Or am I bored with it? Is it not doing anything for me? If it's connecting you emotionally to the music and maybe there's just some intellectual things going, yeah, but I wish this was better. Yeah, screw that noise. Keep it and try to be happy with it. But if it's not engaging you in any way, then that's when it's time to send it back and to try something else. You're going to be a lot happier in the long haul when you make a choice and then stick with it while accepting what I've mentioned earlier in the video. Nothing's perfect. Everything's compromised. There's nothing you can do about it. Find what connects you, again, on that emotional level. Anyways, guys, that's going to be it for the video. Look, I know a lot of this is common sense stuff, but it's nonetheless something that I think bears repeating, especially nowadays. So, hey, if this has helped at least even a couple of you along, then I'll have considered this video worthwhile. Anyways, as always, thanks for watching, and until next time, peace.